Fellas, we are back. We have football today. I woke up. I got up at the ass crack of dawn. It was like 6:30 in the morning. I woke up early and I was like, I can't fall back asleep again. I'm way too excited. I remembered that it was football today, and it was a lost cause for me falling asleep again. We get each, Danny, I'm going to say right off the top of the show, we each get 30 seconds to talk about our college football teams, and that's the extent of it. So
All I'm going to really say here is that JJ McCarthy had a fucking awesome game. Michigan's looking like a well-oiled machine. And hopefully, come college football semifinal in the playoff, we could see Michigan against your team, because take it away with the floor, man. You got the upset over the number 3 ranked team on the road. Didn't even look really contested throughout much of the game. It looked like Texas just kind of laid the hammer on them. Like, talk about your boys.
yeah. So for starters, from a dynasty perspective, Jatavion Sanders has like 200 yards in 2 weeks, which is insane. And he had 118 yards yesterday and looked like an absolute man possessed. Dude, as great as Brock Bowers is, like, we got 2 stud tight ends in this class. It ain't just Brock Bowers. Yeah. And Quinn looks way better this year as far as like a decision-making standpoint, confidence standpoint. Adonai Mitchell is awesome. He is like a great deep threat for the offense. Xavier Worthy cannot be covered. He just needs to catch the goddamn ball every time it's thrown to him. But he's always open. The guy literally is always open. It's insane. But yeah, dude, going down to Tuscaloosa and getting revenge for last year when we should have beaten Alabama is definitely a good feeling. So hook 'em horns, baby. We're coming back. Texas is back, and our defense is good. We have dogs on the second level who can take the football away. Byron Murphy's getting legit first round buzz when it comes to like defensive tackle position as like a 3 technique prospect. We have legitimate defensive players too. If number 5 was still on this team, we still had Bijan Robinson and Quinn was playing like this last year, we might have been really, really dangerous because the rest of the offense is really coming together. So we can stop talking about college football and then we'll get right into the questions.
One thing I will quickly say too is you lost arguably your best defensive player last year too. I mean, for what it's worth, he was looking every bit of the part in training camp. Obviously went down in training camp, I believe in the preseason game with a torn ACL, but man, everything I saw from DeMarvion Overshown before he got hurt, dude, the guy's a fucking dog, man. So I'm happy for his potential. Obviously on my Dallas Cowboys, got picked in the 3rd round, but the fact that you lost that type of player on the linebacking core of your defense and you arguably improved. No, you guys got a good thing going, man. You guys got a good thing going, and I hope for E's sake, you guys are ranked inside the top 5 this week, because that'll make it even more likely that we can get a playoff matchup.
Oh, we got a freshman wearing number 0 that Overshown was wearing last year, and he was outstanding yesterday. Like speed rusher, like a true freshman 18-year-old, and he had like 2 sacks and like 3 QB hits or something like that. So he was awesome. So this is going to be a common question that we're going to get. I'm sure we're going to get a shit ton of Isaiah Likely talk here. So off the top of the show, let's talk about where we have Isaiah Likely ranked and who we would start him over and that kind of thing, because I know it's going to be a common question. So disgusting knowing that TJ Hawkinson is my tight end 1 on the week right now because Kelsey and Andrews are not playing, but that is the way the cookie crumbles. I think I've seen some crazy outlandish takes on Twitter about Isaiah Likely. Let me know where you stand. Right now, I have him at tight end 9. I think I would start Hawkinson, Kittle, Waller. He's a little sketchy because of the hamstring injury, but if you have a backup plan or you have a pivot option or whatever, then fine. But if you have to start Likely over him, I wouldn't blame you. Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, Evan Ingram, David Njoku, and Pat Freiermuth. I am not just sold that Isaiah Likely is going to inherit all of Mark Andrews' work. They have better receivers now. Isaiah Likely could be in more of a tight end by committee as far as like a route participation standpoint. So I'm playing it cautious with Likely. I think he's a good start this week. Don't get me wrong. And I think, you'd be happy if you just, picked him up off the waiver wire and started him over whatever middling option you were intending on starting, or if you had Andrews and you needed to pick him up, I'm fine with it. But I'm not going crazy and starting this guy over George Kittle or over Kyle Pitts or over Dallas Goedert or Evan Ingram.
Yeah, so for the record, I actually just moved him because oddly enough, I moved Mark Andrews down. I forgot to put Likely in my ranking. So I'm just doing that right now, and I landed on him being my tight end 12 right after Luke Musgrave for me. I also view Luke Musgrave this week as a very, very strong play. I think with Christian Watson out, I think they still have, an advantage there against Chicago. I think the Packers are still going to win that game. And from everything I've heard, like Luke Musgrave in week 1 as a rookie can still command for an 80% route participation rate, can still command for a high team lead in terms of targets. And I do think that his outlook may be even better than what we saw from Sam Laporta on Thursday night. After a successful rookie first game, I mean, we saw 5 targets, 5 receptions, 39 yards. I'd expect even that little bit more from Musgrave this week against Chicago. So that's the reason why I have him 11.
He's a good option. I think I would start likely over him, but I do think he's a pretty good option this week. So again, we got a bunch of questions in here. Of course, if you want to get your question answered ASAP, the best way to do so is to turn noties on so that you can get in here as early as possible and get your question, because we do go in chronological order. And then, of course, super chat, skip the line. I will just quickly shout out to get our weekly start sit rankings for free, so you don't have to sit and wait for us to answer your questions. I literally just uploaded mine to our weekly rankings tab. They are up to date as of inactives and all that kind of stuff. If you want them for free, you can sign up on Underdog using promo code FSE, or you can go to our site, flockfantasy.com/FSE, which we just had our first private live stream yesterday afternoon. Every Saturday afternoon at 12, we're also going to have a private live stream for Flock subscribers. So if you want to get involved in those and get the weekly rankings for free, you know how to do it. So we can kick it off with the first super chat.
Yeah, so we got a few super chats here to catch up on. Luke Musgrave or Jake Ferguson at flex this week. I have Musgrave ranked as my tight end 11. I believe if I check Jake Ferguson right now, just give me a second. Jake Ferguson's currently ranked at tight end 15. So I would prefer Luke Musgrave. I think both of them have, relatively, good matchup projections given the game environment, given their roles in the offense. It's just Luke Musgrave's got the opportunity to be the overall target one on that team that Jake Ferguson simply doesn't.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more hesitant on Luke Musgrave this week, just because he's a rookie tight end in his first game. I mean, just look at the rookie trends that we've seen throughout the league so far with Jahmyr Gibbs, his workload in week one, as well as, Devon Achane's inactive this week, even though he wasn't even on the injury report. So it sounds like he just didn't make the starting roster for game day. I'm a little hesitant to just say Luke Musgrave is going to walk right into the role he had in the preseason. As much as it was encouraging to see, I think I would start Jake Ferguson, who I trust as like a veteran player a little bit more. But that's pretty close. If you wanted to go for the upside play, if you're an underdog this week in the projections or whatever, I think Musgrave has a higher ceiling because Watson's out and Dobbs is going to be on a pitch count by the sounds of it.
Yep. He also said it's full PPR if that changes everything. And I mean, for me, I would still go with Luke Musgrave because I think he has the opportunity to get more work. But at the end of the day, they're both upside plays, I would say, at tight end, young upside tight ends with a high ceiling. Because realistically, given this tight end landscape, there's no reason at this point to shoot for floor at tight end when all the top tight ends are out. You may as well go for the guy that could potentially be a top 3 overall player on the slate. And I do think both Musgrave and Ferguson represent that level of upside. So I would personally, again, go Musgrave. Corey would go Jake Ferguson, but they're really very close, and I will switch my battery.
Yeah, you got to plug in your camera, my friend. Anyways, I'll put you in the back seat. We'll get down to the thing here. I will showcase this because Spicy put it in really quick. He said, please ask your questions only once. Spamming will only overload the chat and lead to a timeout. Link to the rankings in the description. So Spicy is our mod here. He is correct. If you ask your question one time, again, we go chronological order. We will get to it eventually, hopefully. And we only skip the line for super chats. And then again, the rankings are in the pinned comment there. Javon sends a super sticker, but I do not see his question. He just says, what's up, boys? I don't actually see where his question is. I'm going to look around. Maybe when Danny gets back, he can find that for me, or Spicy can. Bonk says, flex start Lazard, Zay Flowers, or Jonathan Mingo. So for me, I'd probably go Zay Flowers there, especially given the fact that Andrews is out. I think Zay Flowers, as the healthiest wide receiver in that core, should actually have a pretty good role in week one. And it's not like, Lazard's a high ceiling guy. Like he's Alan Lazard, whatever. He could be fine because he plays with Aaron Rodgers. And then Mingo, again, I also kind of want to wait and see, even though Thielen is coming into the game banged up, he is going to play. DJ Chark is out. But I think I would go with Zay Flowers there. Gustavo says full PPR, start at the flex, Javonte or Jamal Williams. So I'm going Jamal Williams there. I want to believe that Javonte is going to get a full workload, but I just don't. I honestly think that he's going to be eased in. I think Samaje Perine is going to get a lot of work early on. And for me in week one, there's no real reason to take that huge of a risk. You don't want to fall behind the 8 ball in your fantasy league and be 0-2 after 2 weeks, being shit, now I got to make up ground or whatever. Just do the smart thing. If you miss out on a big Javonte Williams game, it'll probably suck, but the smart process play is to play Jamal Williams this week. And that includes Breece Hall as well. I'm playing Deion Jackson over Breece Hall. Do you think I want to do that? Absolutely not. I'm doing it because Zach Moss is out. Deion Jackson's going to be probably a workhorse this week. They're not going to give a rookie in Evan Hall a massive workload. And Breece Hall, we already heard this morning from Rap Sheet that Dalvin Cook is going to get the bulk of the carries, or, probably a 50-60% opportunity share this week. So for me, Javonte Williams and Breece Hall, I really, really want to leave them on my bench if possible.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I have Jamal Williams ringside. I think my RB 25, and Javonte's currently a fringe top 35 overall player for me. Obviously, you guys know how much I think he's talented. I mean, I think he's literally going to be the breakout running back that can win people leagues down the stretch, but entering week one, there's no reason to take that risk. Like you don't want to go into week one watching the game and seeing like Jaleel McLaughlin touch the ball and Samaje Perine touch the ball. Just like, don't do that to yourself, honestly. Just start Jamal Williams. Alvin Kamara is not going to be playing. I mean, speaking of this game,
it's why you drafted Jamal Williams, to start him until Javonte gets up to speed.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, it kind of goes counterintuitive because I'm saying to start Jamal, but I do think it is the time now to announce my underdog pick of the week. And that's going to be the Titans money line against the New Orleans Saints. They're currently 2.5-point underdogs on the road against New Orleans Saints. I do think that they win that game straight up. I think New Orleans has kind of been, praised to a certain level this offseason that I do think that come week one, we're going to see that kind of plateau in their face. I think the Titans, well-coached team, gritty offense, gritty defense are going to be able to steal that game on the road against New Orleans. It's going to be a hot take. I know people are very much peddling the New Orleans stock right now, but I do think the Titans take that game in week one.
Yeah, so for what it's worth, if you guys are new around here and you have no idea what Danny's talking about with his underdog of the week, so every year we do player bets. So like when we disagree on start-sit decisions, Danny takes Sky Moore, I take Jordan Addison. Obviously, that hasn't aged out too well so far. Then we also do a lock of the week, so a pick against the spread that we just think is destined to hit. An underdog pick of the week, so a team that's an underdog by like a field goal or more that we think can just outright win the game. And then a going nuts pick of the week presented by Manscaped, which is a player we think can go for 20 plus PPR points. And then when we announce those, you and the audience in the chat tell us if it's a 1-pointer, a 2-pointer, a 3-pointer, basically how gutty of a call is it. If it's a really like, if I'm like, oh, I think Dameon Pierce is going to go for 20 plus points, that might be like a 2-pointer. If I say, Garrett Wilson's going to do it, that might be like a 1-pointer. And then if I say Nico Collins is going to do it, that might be like a 3-pointer, right? So that's that. And then we're also adding a new one this week, which is a safe play of the week presented by Aura, which is a player that we think is going to be a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, running back 1, running back 2. If you need safe production, guy like Jamal Williams would be a perfect example this week of a guy that you could rely on this week. So Danny, if you want to get back to the supers, and then we'll kind of get this thing going.
Go where we left off here. Omar, appreciate that. He says 12-team half PPR, 1 flex. He's got Elijah Moore, Jahan Dotson, James Cook, J.K. Dobbins, and Michael Thomas. And he needs to start one. If you only need to start one, my clear answer, especially in a half PPR, and it'll segue right into Corey's pick. I'll let you say it.
Yeah, dude, J.K. Dobbins is my going nuts player of the week this week. So again, presented by Manscaped. Check him out. Promo code Bush for 20% off plus free shipping. The reason I love J.K. Dobbins this week is because he has one of the best matchups in the league against the Houston Texans. They're absolutely awful against the run, and they have been for a while. They're pretty good against the pass, so they're more of like a run funnel defense. Without Mark Andrews on the field, it's possible that they rely more on J.K. Dobbins. And with J.K. Dobbins, too, he's been the most efficient running back in the NFL since he entered the league. So I really do think all it takes for him is 15, 20 touches, and we could have a monster game out of J.K. Dobbins. I personally, with all of my picks every week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to parlay my lock of the week, my underdog pick of the week, and then something correlating to my going nuts and safe players, whether it's I have J.K. Dobbins anytime touchdown, my safe play of the week I'll get to in a second, but I have him going over his yardage prop. So that's basically what I'm going to do on any given week. And cue Matt, if he's in the chat, talking about how I make bets.
Bush makes bets. Yeah, no, I love it. But yeah, with that being said, I would also go with J.K. Dobbins out of that bunch. Omar, got another super chat here from Mark Gravy. Appreciate that. He says he gets 0.1 points every return yard, and Mims is wide receiver 2, kick return, and punt return. Do I go with him or Dots in a potential blowout in a half PPR? Also likely or Dulcich in a half PPR. So for the first question, I understand the allure with the kick return and with the punt return. Now, the question I do have is, how many returns are we expecting from Mims in this game realistically? Are we looking at maybe a few extra points? And if that, that would be a half PPR. So you're looking at probably 3.5 points, give or take, in return yards.
Yeah, well, and that's assuming they don't kick it out of the back of the end zone. There's not a lot of punts in the game. If Mims splits reps at all at that position,
I would still go
if they have another kick returner or a punt returner on the roster. So yeah, I would just go with Dotson. I think it's a little too cute to go otherwise, especially in a half PPR. We know Dotson can get into the end zone as well. And then likely or Dulcich, I would go with likely in this decision. Yeah, I don't want to risk Greg Dulcich out there if I don't have to. I think we'll probably start to see that the whole Dulcich is not the tight end one thing might have been a preseason narrative that we weren't expecting. But I do think I still want to wait and see on that. I don't want to just throw him into my lineup if I don't have to.
Yep. Next super here from Mark. Appreciate that. He says start 2 half PPR, Sutton, Ayuk, Jackson, and Gibson. So for me personally, My two answers here would be Antonio Gibson and Brandon Ayuk, and I'm assuming you're probably on the same page.
Yeah, that would be the same answer for me. Although I do think Deion Jackson's a pretty solid start. Honestly,
I think
Sutton
Sutton
is
is too. Yeah,
Yeah, these guys are all pretty decent starts, but I would go just most talented guys that I think have pretty good opportunity to get into the end zone would be Ayuk and Gibson. But I think Deion Jackson has a better workload than Gibson, so it would make a little bit of sense if you wanted to favor him.
Yep. No, I absolutely love that. Omar, another super chat. Appreciate that. He says it's time. 12-team half PPR, 2 flex. Need to fill one. He's got Keenan Allen and Ridley starting, and I mean we may as well segue right into our next part of the segment because my going nuts pick of the week is Calvin Ridley, wide receiver of the Jacksonville Jaguars, obviously going up against that Colts defense. Very, efficient opportunity there with Stephon Gilmore out of the fold. We obviously expect a better matchup comparatively than what we would have last year. And with Calvin Ridley, man, I understand, the concern. He hasn't played football in so long, but I expect these two to go fireworks right off the bat. I expect Calvin Ridley to have a 10 catch, 125 yard, maybe 1 or 2 touchdown type of game, aka being my going nuts pick.
Yeah, I'm on the same page there. So, by the way, somebody was talking about Gustavo laying down $129. They were pesos, they're Mexican pesos, so they weren't. Yeah. I think we're talking about a reasonable amount of money. I don't think he's dropping $129 American in the chat right now. But yeah, that was Danny's going nuts pick of the week. You guys heard mine, J.K. Dobbins. Let us know down below in the comments. What do you think those are worth? If they hit, do you think those are onion hangers? We should get 3 points for them. You think they're more mid-level? 2-pointers if they hit, or do you think they're, locks to happen and they're 1-pointers if they hit? Because that determines how many points we get if that actually happens.
And for reference, if I had to unbiased grade the Calvin Ridley call, it'd probably be somewhere between the 1 and the 2. I don't think it should be a 1 because I think a Stephon Diggs, Bijan Robinson type would probably be a 1. So I would say it's a 2, but I mean, I'll see what the chat says.
I would say both of ours are 2s, to be honest, but yeah. We'll see here.
But yeah, speaking of, there's also another player involved in that super chat that I'll let you take care of.
Yeah. So I mentioned our safe player of the week, presented by Aura. Again, best cybersecurity system out there. Definitely check out the link in the description for them. Keenan Allen, I think, is just an absolute lock to be a wide receiver 2 or better this week because we have Mike Williams going up against the Xavier Howard matchup. And even though he had an up and down season last year, I still would rather not have him go up against a formerly really good corner. So I think Keenan Allen is destined to have 11 for 140 type of ceiling outcome. And I think even at his low range of outcomes, we're talking about 7 for 85, which will make him a wide receiver 2 in PPR format. So yeah, I really think if you guys need a safe play this week, you're probably starting Keenan Allen anyway. But if for some reason you're in a shallow league and you got to make a decision and you're looking for a safe play, I think Keenan Allen's a really good option this week.
Yep. No, I agree there. Got another super here from our gravy, Mostert or Kirk. Half PPR and Edwards over Hall Javonte ? I would personally go in a half PPR. I still have Raheem Mostert ranked very, very highly. He's a top 15 overall running back for me this week. I think he's going to blow up, and he might blow up to the point where your underdog pick of the week might hit. I'll let you take it away with that.
Yeah, my underdog pick of the week this week for Raheem Mostert is that I think the Dolphins will win. I think the Dolphins will outright win the game. It's a 3-point spread. The Chargers are 3-point favorites at home, but I mean the Chargers' home field advantage is the worst in the NFL. So I think there's gonna be plenty of Dolphins there to make some noise, and I really do think the Dolphins could win that game. The Chargers, Agreed. Especially early on in the season, they're kind of a poorly coached team. They kind of make a lot of mistakes and things of that nature. So I think the Dolphins money line, if you guys are looking for a plus money bet to make this week, is a pretty good one. And I personally laid some money on it. So I'm going to be riding that one.
And in terms of the second part of the question, I can't start Gus Edwards over either of those running backs, to be honest. I would rather just take the swing.
Yeah. And Javonte's the guy that I would go with of the two.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins or Jennifer Lawrence? Ramondre Stevenson or I think that's Jamal Williams.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, for what it's worth, okay, so in terms of the first one, I would go with Trevor Lawrence. And the reason why I'd go with Trevor Lawrence is because we're going through the locks of the week. My lock of the week is that the Jaguars-Colts game hits the over of 46.5. We got a high-functioning Jaguars offense getting into their groove, young quarterback taking that next leap. I mean, I already mentioned and sung the song and dance when it comes to Calvin Ridley and his potential going nuts caliber this week. I do think that the Jaguars can threaten for 30 points. I understand that it's a rookie quarterback on the other end, but I do think Anthony Richardson is a talented enough player, especially as a rusher, to be able to put up a fight in this game. If I had to guess right now, I'd probably land at about, a 28-21, 28-24 type of Jaguars win. And I do think that the Colts could surprise in this game.
Yeah, that would be the only thing I'd be worried about with that overpick is how does Anthony Richardson look in his first game? Because we saw plenty of games last year. I think I broke it down with the Pittman case and the Jonathan Taylor case. There was like 13 games last year where the Colts failed to reach like 20 points. They were not a good offense last year, and I don't love raw quarterback in his first NFL game just putting 25 on the board or 22 on the board. I think if that overhits, it's going to be a blowout for the Jags, and it's going to be like 46-10 or something like that.
I was going to say like a 35-17.
Yeah, I think they would have to do the bulk of the damage for sure, which they definitely could because the Colts defense is not very good and the Jags offense is very good.
Makes sense for sure. But let me grab onto that super. I believe it was this one. Right. So then the next question is Ramondre Stevenson or Jamal Williams. I would still go with Ramondre, assuming he plays. Are you going to know that by the time?
He was sick, apparently.
Okay.
That's why he missed
illness, right? Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, I would go with Ramondre. And we are all caught up on super, so we're going to start straight up from the top.
Yeah. So again, like I said, we skipped the comments to go to the supers, but if you get in here early, turn those noties on and you will get your question answered. No questions asked here. Nathan was the second one in here. He says Henry or Waddle in the flex. I don't know how the hell you have this decision to make, but I'm going definitely Jalen Waddle, full PPR league, big play bonuses. That's literally destined for a guy like Jalen Waddle. So yeah, give me Jalen Waddle there. If no Waller, Schultz or Knox. So for me, because Knox plays on Monday, Schultz. I think I would probably just wait on Waller and pivot to Knox worst case scenario. That because you'd have to play Schultz first, right?
Yeah, you would. The thing is like, yeah, I would do it too because it sounds like Waller's going to play. If it sounded more pessimistic and Waller wasn't going to play, I'd probably just start Schultz, given his standing in that offense, potential to be the lead target guy on the Texans passing game. But at the same time, it's like if Waller plays, it's got to be Waller, and it sounds like Waller should play. So I would rather just take the risk and worst case, pivot to Dawson Knox, like you mentioned.
Yeah. I don't want to play Dawson Knox, but I would rather wait on Waller. He's a real.
Is Tyler Conklin available? Is the question mark?
Yeah, if Tyler Conklin's available, I would just pick up him instead because I would rather play him over Knox, knowing that Kincaid is going to be involved as much as he will be. But yeah, if you guys have Darren Waller, I would say I'd like say 95% of the time I'm just going to wait on Darren Waller, and worst case scenario, Dawson Knox, Tyler Conklin, somebody like that should be available on your waiver wire. I'm probably not good. Like, unless you have George Kittle and Darren Waller, or TJ Hawkinson and Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts and Darren Waller or something, I'm probably not going to just like not play Darren Waller if he's out there.
Exactly. Got a super chat from Lucas. Appreciate that. He says 2 goats. That's my little cousin for the record.
Oh yeah, I'm aware. I've seen Lucas in the chat very many times. Also, for what it's worth, I have a dynasty trade like brewing right now with the mighty Bouch. I'll spoil the details if it ends up going out, but it's a heater. It's a league shaker upper for sure.
Like you're selling off pieces, or you're buying pieces?
I'm selling off. It's in no flocking. So in our Flock Fantasy site startup, when we launched the site, we did a startup with everybody, and I'm selling off some pieces that are
DJ Moore,
quite competitive.
So it's DJ Moore, Tony Pollard in a package here. Oh, you might be trading them with Stroud for a quarterback.
We'll see. Just curious, while everyone settles in, what are y'all home league teams looking like? Yeah, I don't know if we have time to look for that or to talk about that right now. But I'll just talk about my main home league really quick, and then we'll get back to the questions here.
Yeah, I will too.
This week, I'm rocking with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs to carry me to glory, obviously. Deion Jackson and Antonio Gibson are my starting running backs, which is not ideal because I drafted Breece Hall as my hero RB and I'm keeping him on the bench. But DJ Moore, Kyle Pitts in a tight end premium, Brandon Ayuk in my first flex, Mike Williams in my second flex in a big play bonuses type of league for those two guys as well. Elijah Moore on my bench. I have a lot of running back depth with like AJ Dillon and Devon Achane and guys like that. So my team's looking a little sketchy this week, but thankfully I did play against Sky Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, which is unfortunate, and also Jerick McKinnon. So he has like 20 points right now after 3 players.
No flocking?
So. Yeah, no, in my home league.
Oh, right. Okay. So I'll quickly brief it. Sorry, I just clued out because I was trying to set all my lineups. In my home league, it's funny how you're also relying upon the Allen versus Allen Diggs stack because that is my main stack right now. So I have Josh Allen as my main quarterback, 4-point passing touchdown league, but at the same time, I mean, this guy's going to give you 25 points per game, so it doesn't matter. Antonio Gibson at running back 1 against the Cardinals. Very favorable matchup there. Jahmyr Gibbs I had as my other running back. Unfortunately, only 8 PPR points. But on the bright side, I mean, looking forward, on 9 opportunities, being able to produce 8 PPR points, and it could have been 14, 15 if he just keeps hold of his fucking feet on that goal line carry. Man, did you watch that live? When he fell when he was like on the 5-yard line, he was about to make an outcut and just absolutely outrace somebody to the pylon and just completely fucking fell over his own feet.
Oh,
he would have scored. He would have scored, right? So it is what it is, but I mean, that shit happens. Jordan Addison at wide receiver. Sky Moore, unfortunately, I had in my lineup 0.4. We don't really have to talk about that. Luke Musgrave at tight end with the flexes being 3 flexes: Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, and Tony Pollard.
Yeah, those are some pretty good good flexes there.
Yes,
I'll just answer this one, then we can get back to any supers if we have them there. Jelly Boy says pick one: James Cook, JSN, or OBJ. I would go with James Cook there, Jelly Boy.
Yep, I would agree there. You have where we left off, right?
Yep.
All right, perfect. Perfect. While you're doing that, I'm going to keep an eye for supers, and I'm going to set my lineups.
Yeah, go ahead. Witness AMG says, full PPR, should I start Lockett, Cooper, or Mostert at the flex? So for me, I think I go Cooper here, but
I have Lockett
really
over
close.
Cooper.
You go Lockett over Cooper? I don't think I would. I think because JSN's playing, I think I go Cooper here.
Fair. For what it's worth, they're literally back-to-back for me. If they weren't like back-to-back, they're 17-18, I would have just been like, fuck it, like, let's do it straight up. But I don't really have enough conviction there to be able to just fucking do that.
You don't want to lay one on that one, or what?
Well, I have Locker ranked at 17, Cooper at 18. So if we want to do it for fun,
you're not thinking you don't want to make a bet on that one.
Where do you have Locker ranked for the record?
I have
I'm at 17 overall.
I have Lockett at 20 and I have Cooper at 16. So I have a little bit more separation between the two.
Fair enough. Please help. Full PPR start one. Lockett, London, Dotson. I'm assuming you agree that. Okay. Perfect.
Addison, Flowers, or Pirine. That one's Addison pretty easily for me there as well. Agreed. YouTube. Start 2 wide receivers: Juju, Pittman, and Addison. I would be sitting Juju. So Pittman and Addison would be the 2 that I would go with there. Let's go. First Sunday. What's going on, Leonardo?
What's going on?
Sup, fellas? PPR flex. Do I go Javonte Williams, Marquise Brown, or Romeo Dobbs? Dobbs on a pitch count. Javonte's on a pitch count. I'm going Marquise Brown.
Yeah, I mean, I have Marquise Brown ranked at like wide receiver 40 just because I have no expectations for that.
I don't have a lot of expectations either. But
in this situation,
he's somehow the least injured coming into the game. So
I agree. Here.
JSN or Mims Jr. Give me the upside of JSN, honestly. That's probably where I would go there. Smooth criminal. Mostert, Dotson, or Ayuk. I would go Raheem Mostert here. You on the same page?
Mostert, yeah.
Here, I'll let you take it. I can just rip through some comments.
Yeah, sorry. I was just setting my lineups because actually I just realized now in the FSC Listener League Dino, I had Jerry Jeudy slated in as my flex. So I'll let you I'll let you guys, figure this out live, but I'll ask you guys out of the options. So currently I have to take obviously Jeudy out of my lineup in a half PPR form, or actually it's full PPR in this league. Full PPR format. I have Cam Akers, James Cook, Breece Hall. Let's go to the wide receivers. Brandon Cooks. Probably going to be Rashad Bateman for me.
Oh, I would go Akers over Bateman for sure.
Really? What about Elijah Moore?
I would go Akers over Moore too.
Akers over Moore? Okay.
Yeah, it's not a good game environment for Akers, but I think I would just take the guaranteed touches.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I also have Kenneth Walker. So, I mean, basically, if that's the type of game script it is, they should get a lot of work. So, for what it's worth, this is my team right now. Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jamar Chase, Drake London, Darren Waller, Kenneth Walker, and Cam Akers in the flexes, and then Justin Herbert as my other quarterback. So having Allen and Herbert, especially the fact that I have Deshaun Watson on my bench right now, it's a pretty nice situation to be in at the quarterback spot.
Yeah, I also have I have to take Jerry Jeudy out of my lineup in one league as well.
Okay, I'll get through some comments and so
I think I'm gonna throw Zay. My options are like Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnston, like Savon Ahmed. It's a house money team, the team that I'm taking him out of. So
wait, hold up. Where do we leave off?
I got it.
Okay, so you got it.
Yep. So I'll pick 2: Elijah, Burks, Dotson, QJ, Addison, JSN, or Javonte. So for me, I would go Dotson and Addison is the 2 that I would go with.
Agree with you there. Same page.
Jamal Williams or Mostert. I'm going Raheem Mostert pretty easily here.
I would too.
Where do you have Jamal Williams? Because I think we're probably going to have a lot of Jamal Williams questions.
So I have Jamal Williams ranked, I believe, RB 25 this week. RB 25. I have Mostert at RB 15. So I actually moved Mostert 2 spots down. I had him ahead of Walker and Mixon. I thought about it. I'm like, I don't think I can have him over Walker and Mixon. I think that's just a little too much. So I still top 15 running back for me. Still like high expectations. I do think, assuming he stays fully healthy, that is the only caveat with Raheem Mostert, that he could have a legitimate RB1 ceiling this week. But
yeah, I have Mostert at 16, so I have him behind Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon, and Aaron Jones as
well. So
Aaron
Jones, I mean, speaking of Aaron Jones, I technically have him ranked lower than Mostert, but may as well just go to my safe play of the week with Aaron Jones. And it's pretty easy to see why, obviously, with Christian Watson out of the lineup. I mentioned that their best pass catcher this week may very well be a rookie tight end with Luke Musgrave. What that tells me is that they're going to go with the familiar. Aaron Jones going to get a lot of touches. He's going to get some work in the receiving game. I'm not sure if 14 carries, 5 receptions is out of the range of outcomes here. And obviously against a favorable opponent there with the Chicago Bears in an intra-divisional game, I do expect them to lean on Aaron Jones. I think, 15, 18 points, especially in PPR, would be the type of expectation I have.
Yeah, that's a fair expectation for Aaron Jones. I think it's going to be really easy for them to rely on the run with a young quarterback making what's essentially like his first start as the starter of the team. And,
without his number one wide receiver.
Yeah, literally without his number one wide receiver. Makes a lot of sense there. I'm on the same page with Aaron Jones. I think he's a good option.
Got super chat. Appreciate that from Cordell. He says the 2 fantasy goats, man. Appreciate that. He says Andrew's out, shaking my head. Do I go Likely or Everett? I would go with Isaiah Likely here, slightly. For what it's worth, I currently have Everett, I believe, as my tight end. Everett is currently my tight end 16, and I have Likely at 12. And I'm assuming you have each of them a little bit higher, respectively.
Yeah, I have right now I have Likely at 9 or 10, I think. Yeah, I have Likely at 9, and then I have Everett at 13.
Okay, so we both agree on Likely regardless.
Yep.
Makes sense. So we're all cut up here, and we can start back.
So yeah, we mentioned Jamal Williams or Mostert. We take Mostert. Jamal Williams or Dotson in PPR. In PPR leagues, I will take Dotson. I think Jamal Williams got a good workload, but in PPR, I lean the receiver for sure. Hector says, good morning, guys. Pick 2, half PPR, Debo, Godwin, Madison, Hollywood Brown. I would go with the first 2 there, Hector. I would go with Debo and Godwin.
Yep, I'd agree. By the way, quick note, Bush. Forgot how dominant my Tone Setter Truthers team is.
Dude, mine's better than yours, but all right.
No, it's not. We can ask the crowd for this one. What do you think?
All right. Okay, tell us which team you guys think is better. I have Justin Fields. So my quarterback is the weakest part of my team. So I have Justin Fields, Sam Howell, and Brock Purdy as my quarterbacks in a super flex format. But I have Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Ramondre Stevenson as my top 3 running backs. Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Brandon Ayuk, Jahan Dotson as my top receivers that are in my lineup right now. George Kittle is my tight end. And my bench still has like a good amount of depth on it. Like I have, let me find my bench depth here. They're all buried somewhere. Where is all my guys? Marquise Brown's on my bench. Odell Beckham Jr. is on my bench. Elijah Mitchell's on my bench. Chuba Hubbard, Jamal Williams, those type of guys on my bench there as well. So my team's in pretty good shape. I would say Marvin Mims also on my bench. And for
what it's worth, I think both of us are probably going to be top 3 teams. So I'm not too worried there. So in terms of my team right here, your biggest weakness is my biggest strength, and your biggest strength is my biggest weakness, because you got a very, very strong running back core. You guys will see that I have a weaker comparative running back core, but my quarterbacks here, Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson as my main starting pivots in my starting lineup. Travis Etienne, Brian Robinson as my 2 starting running backs this week. But the wide receivers are where I'm at here. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, Mike Williams in my starting lineup with Goddard at tight end. And in terms of some notable players on my bench, I have guys like Elijah Moore, Jordan Addison, Michael Mayer, A.J. Dillon at running back. And then my backup quarterback, my third quarterback, is Russell Wilson. I also have 2 firsts and 2 seconds to play with in season if I need. So overall, I mean, I think both of our teams are fucking phenomenal, and I'm excited to potentially see you in the championship.
Yeah, this will be fun. This year especially is going to be a little bit more fun than last year, because I had so many 1-year punts last year, and this year I have a lot more house money / actual contenders. Yeah. Which will make it a lot more fun for me watching some of my dynasty teams here. So, he says traded away Kirk, got Addison. Yeah, man. I mean, if you're, is this Christian Kirk? Not, I read this as Kirk Cousins. Christian Kirk versus Addison. I mean, it all depends on what your team needs. If you're a shallow team and you're looking for upside, I'm cool going Addison. But if you're in a deep league format, full PPR, 3 wide receivers, 2 flexes, I think I'd probably lean Christian Kirk there.
Yep, that's fair. By the way, hey, Bush, it's looking like the crowd is preferring Danny's team right now. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. We don't usually build out running back heavy teams, so a lot of people are probably not going to favor my
I'm
Christian
playing the crowd
McCaffrey,
right now.
Saquon Barkley, Ramondre shit show of a squad. But hey, if I have to have a shaky QB 2 and 3, I'm glad that Brock Purdy and Sam Howell are those guys because I want to root for them. So Fields is obviously going to anchor my quarterback position, and I'm strong everywhere else. So as long as I can get decent production when I'm streaming matchups between Howell and Purdy, I think I'm fine with it. Like I'm playing Howell this week against the Cardinals, but some weeks I'm going to be playing Purdy for sure.
By the way, I don't know why randomly like my most rostered like quarterback duo is either Josh Allen plus X or it's Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. Like I'm looking through my
Justin Herbert, Deshaun Watson combos span like 3 leagues.
Bro.
I have like Justin Herbert and Deshaun Watson in 3 different leagues.
What about the FSC league where I have Allen, Herbert, and Watson?
That's ridiculous. Also, you might call me nuts for this one. AJ, Ginger Ale offered me a trade the other day, and I declined it because I'm this high on Brock Purdy. He offered me Geno Smith and Pat Freiermuth for Van Jefferson and Brock Purdy.
Oh, you got to do that, man.
They can't do it.
Oh, so that's also built in that you're a little bit worried that it might be like a one-stop show for Geno basically from last year.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, also for what it's worth, my team has McCaffrey, Ayuk, and Kittle on it. So having Purdy makes a lot of sense.
So you're already consolidating your bet anyways.
Yeah, like if the 49ers crush this year, I'm going to do really well.
Yeah. So we're all caught up there. I think for the most part, my lineups are set. So it's just complete focus on answering your guys' start sits from now on. So
yeah, full PPR tight end premium 1.5. Need 1 running back, 3 flex, 1 tight end. So I would go Ingram over Freiermuth personally in the tight end spot. Michael Thomas, Swift, Hall, Mostert. So Mostert's definitely one of your starters. He also says he needs upside. So I'd go Mostert, Swift, Brian Robinson. And I honestly, would you go Freiermuth as the last flex option in a 1.5 tight end premium?
Probably would. I mean,
or actually, I'd probably go Jamal Williams. I just fire at all those running backs. He can start 4 running backs here. So
yeah,
Mostert in your RB1 slot, Swift or RB2 slot probably. Mostert, Swift, Brian Robinson, and Jamal Williams is probably what I'm going here. Rashad Penny's actually gonna be a healthy scratch this week.
Who do you have higher between Freiermuth and Ingram?
I have Ingram higher.
Okay. Let me see where they're ranked for me for comparison.
They're back to back, but I have I have Njoku between them, but I have Ingram higher.
For what it's worth, I mean that range is very close for me, but I actually do have Evan Ingram at 6 and Freiermuth at 9. So like they're relatively close for me. But we're all caught up here. Let's just spam some more.
Yeah, Ayuk, London, Dotson, or Addison. I'm going probably Ayuk here.
I think I have London the highest.
Really? You have London higher than Ayuk?
In a half PPR, I would favor Ayuk, but in a full PPR, give me London.
He says full PPR here. So.
Yeah, I would go London.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Do you want to put that one down?
I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Write it down, Spicy. We got me taking Brandon Ayuk in full PPR, Danny taking Drake London in full PPR. I'm a little worried just about the game environment. That's really, I mean, neither of these game environments are great, but I expect the 49ers, their implied point total is a lot higher. I think they can put some points on the board. Need flex, Mostert, Walker, Zay Flowers, Javonte Williams.
Mostert.
Are you starting Mostert?
Oh, Walker.
Yeah, I'm going Kenneth Walker there as well. Yeah, Brian Robinson or Khalil Herbert, not Justin Herbert. For running back 2, I would go with Brian Robinson. Actually, I have Brian Robinson a little bit higher. This is the perfect game script for him, right? They're 7-point favorites. It's the Cardinals. There's a good chance that the Cardinals are falling behind in this game, and that the Commanders are going to run the clock out.
And I feel like that's going to be a common question throughout. So for what it's worth, I have both Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson as top 30 running backs for me this week. Like they're both guys I think have viability.
Do you have Gibson?
I'd go Gibson.
What about if it's standard or half PPR? Would you still go Gibson?
In a standard, I would lean Robinson because he's probably got higher touchdown opportunity. But in a half, I would still go with Gibson because I think his skill set gives me more paths to paying off than Brian Robinson's do. And if I'm projecting a relative 50-50 committee between them, I feel like Gibson's going to be more efficient on his touches regardless. So that's why I would have a slight favor to Gibson, but they're both very strong plays, I think.
Also, I just saw Nate Janke tweet this out, and I think it's a really good point. So what's his name is an inactive, Rashad Penny. If Kenneth Gainwell's on your waiver wire, stash him because he's going to be a lot more expensive on Tuesday if you don't.
Yeah. Let me take a look if he's active in some
of my leagues. Right now, I'm dropping Tajay Spears for him.
In what league?
In my home league.
Oh, got you. Okay.
I think Kenneth Gainwell has just as good of a chance to be like a 50-50 split with Swift as he does to like not be involved at all. So if Penny's going to be inactive, that means that Swift is probably going to tote the rock and Hurts, and Gainwell might actually be the third down guy this week.
Sorry, I'm just taking a look if he's available in any of my leagues just quickly. So who tweeted this out? Janky?
Well, I saw that Penny was inactive, and then I have tweet note he's on for Nate Janky, and he's like, go pick up Gainwell if he's available because he's gonna be cheaper or more expensive on Tuesday if you don't.
Yeah, I mean he's not available in literally any of my leagues for what it's worth.
Yeah,
like literally any of my leagues. This is insane. The only one he's available is a Tone Setters league where my team is literally just fucking loaded.
Somebody have him in the listener league?
Yeah, bro. By the way, shout out to the mug for today.
Little hot mama shout out. Dude, I have Swift in our listener league starting this week, and there's no Rashad Penny. That's good news for me.
Real quick, I didn't even notice. Appreciate this $5 super chat from Chris a couple minutes ago. I must have been talking about my Gainwell or something. But what's up, guys? New season and dig the new intro. Appreciate that, Chris. Appreciate that. He says, "Good luck this year. Protein shake. Let's go."
I don't know if he's drinking a protein shake or if he's just shouting out.
He's referencing the old fucking. Come on, bro. You remember how many times in the morning I would have my protein shakes?
Yeah, you would have a lot of protein shakes for sure.
Dude, that was like 2 years ago, man. That's an OG reference, bro. I appreciate that, Chris. I appreciate that. Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, that's a wild one. I saw somebody asked, where is it? James. Okay, James says favorite props for today. So, quick shout out again to Underdog Fantasy. Right now, they have this prop going right now. It's a maximum $10 bet. So, but you can build out a 5 pick'em slip with this Saquon Barkley boosted pick'em slip right now. So you get half total yards for Saquon. Obviously, you're taking the higher there, and basically you can build out a slip. And for reference, this is the one that I have built out right now. So Saquon half total yards, 4.5 fantasy points for Elijah Moore. The higher on that. Lower than 33.5 passing attempts for Baker Mayfield. I think they're probably going to try and control the clock and not, let him throw a ton in his first game. And then higher on Rachaad White's fantasy points is kind of like a correlated bet to that. I think Rachaad White will probably get a lot of work in this game. And then also higher on Jordan Addison's fantasy points of 7.75. So if you want to tail this one, by all means, go ahead. You can also, like I said, only bet a max of $10 because of the boosted pick'em thing for Saquon Barkley, but you can 20x that and win up to 200 with a free square essentially, and you just have to get the other 4 right. And you can also put insurance on it, and you would win 100 instead of 200 on basically 3 of 4.
Yep. Got a super chat here, by the way, from Ethan. He says full PPR tight end premium, pick Likely or Kincaid, pick 2 of Elijah Moore, Mingo, Javonte, or one of the other tight ends. So I believe you have Likely higher. I would still go with Dalton Kincaid here, but yeah, let's discuss.
Yeah, I have Likely higher. I think I lean towards being pessimistic that he'll have a huge workload in week 1. So that's why I'm not super high on Kincaid and Musgrave this week. Honestly, like I have them both outside my top 15 tight ends. I just lean week 1. I don't want to throw the rookie out there until I know what his role is.
I mean, I have Kincaid a little bit higher for what it's worth, but now the question I do have for you. So if you're going Likely at the tight end spot, are you starting Kincaid in a tight end premium over any of those other options? Because you can start 2 here. I think I would. I think I'd go Elijah Moore and Kincaid as the other 2. If you're going Likely,
I would go Elijah Moore and
you go Mingo over Kincaid in a tight end premium. I'd go Kincaid.
Yeah. I think you could. I think you could do it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think it makes sense. I personally would, say that Javonte's in play, but I think Kincaid probably makes more sense.
Yeah, no, I would agree there. That's an interesting question, though. I like that question, Ethan. Like that one. Another super chat here from Andrew. Pick 2, Pickens, Mostert, James Cook, or Jamal Williams. So Mostert's the clear number 1 out of these guys, and I believe I have Jamal actually as my second highest.
Yes. No, I have James Cook higher than Jamal Williams.
James Cook higher. Wow.
Yeah, I do have James Cook higher.
For what it's worth, so I have James Cook at 28 and Jamal at 25 for me.
Yeah, I think leaning into the workload makes a lot of sense with Jamal Williams. I just don't love the game environment. I would rather have the Buffalo Bills running back. That's fair.
You have where we left off, right?
Yep. Nuke says, will Kittle play today or just start Musgrave? You can start George Kittle. It sounds like he's going to be fine. Yep. Dotson or Herbert at flex.
Dotson.
On Dotson over Khalil Herbert there.
Unless that's the standard, I'm going Dotson.
Yeah. What's good, y'all? Likely or Kincaid this week? I would go Isaiah Likely there.
Yeah, that's.
I also wanted to mention too. Make sure, Spicy? Can you check if people gave us ratings for our going nuts picks? Were they 1-pointers, 2-pointers, or 3-pointers? And then we'll get that recorded for us there as well.
Real quick. So Jose, think I missed it. But can y'all check my last super? Yeah, absolutely. We can go through it. So he said full PPR Freiermuth are likely and Brees JSN as my last flex. Okay, so looking at this in terms of full PPR Freiermuth versus likely, I'm still going with Pat Freiermuth. I'm assuming you agree there. Pat Fry?
Yes, I would go Freiermuth over likely.
Brees JSN, Nico Collins, Charbonnet, or Tank at my last flex and a full PPR, man.
I think I would just go JSN, to be honest.
I'm close between JSN and Collins. I would go with JSN, but I do think Collins is going to have a very, very good game this week.
Yeah. The Ravens secondary is depleted without Humphrey out there.
Yeah. That's a good question, though. I like that, Jose.
Also, quick shout out, too. If you guys had a question answered, the least you could do is hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you guys are enjoying. Wanye says, happy football Sunday, fam. Feels like Christmas, don't it? Literally, dude. I wake up earlier for week 1 and for like the NFL draft and like big football events
than for your wedding
Christmas morning.
I'm joking. Yeah, that is actually factual for the record. So for what it's worth, I had a fun night last night because basically we were watching the UFC. So we had our fair bit of drinks, had a little bit to smoke, whatever. Enjoyed UFC. I'm expecting fully Izzy Adesanya, freaking minus 600 favorite, is going to take care of business. Gets completely dominated by Sean Strickland. Like 5-round fight. 4-1 on the cards, every single judge. Like, it was like not even close. And I've never seen, like, the last time I saw Adesanya like lose a fight pretty convincingly was Jan Blachowicz. But like this one I didn't expect because Sean Strickland isn't this big heavyweight that would pose him some problems, right? Sean Strickland honestly just how do I explain it? Like out technicaled Izzy Adesanya. Izzy Adesanya is one of the most technically sound fighters, especially in terms of standing up in the entire UFC. And Sean Strickland just stood up, stood his ground, and just completely fucking worked him. It was bad. But sure. We have some UFC fans in the chat, though.
Yeah, we also had Wanye. He says, start set question with Mark Andrews out and Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin is – he says Terry McLaurin in. Should I start Rashad Bateman over Jahan Dotson? No, I would just play both Commanders receivers, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree. We got a super here from Kraft. Appreciate that. He says PPR flex, Terry McLaurin or Jamal Williams. Thanks. This is where I have to stop. I was going to say, this is where I have to stop my Jamal Williams love. And a full PPR, I can't do it over a guy like Terry McLaurin. I understand, there is risk there with the with the toe, but at the same time, it's Jamal Williams at this point.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. It's Spicy saying Izzy gave up in the chat.
Darren Waller or Cole Kmet. So Cole
Waller.
Kmet plays at 1 p.m. I'm pretty sure.
I think Darren Waller's going to play, so I would just start him in worst case pivot to like Ferguson or. If
he plays at 425. So you start Waller if he plays. So Cole Kmet is your pivot option. It's perfect situation there.
Well, Waller Sunday night. That's why.
Oh, I'm stupid as hell. Never mind. I thought he was on the Raiders still for a half second there. I was like, he plays for the Raiders. It's 425.
You're chilling, and for what it's worth, he should be able to suit up for the Giants this week. Got another super here from Spatty. Drop A-Chain, Warren, or Quentin Johnson for Gainwell. I would. What are these options? I would go with A-Chain.
Yeah, I think I would go with A-Chain as well.
The question is, would you rather have A-Chain or Gainwell?
Do you need somebody? Because I would say I wouldn't drop any of these guys for Gainwell then.
That's what I mean.
Like all three of these guys are better stashes than Gainwell is.
That's what I mean. I agree.
So I probably would just say hold pat, unless you are like looking for somebody either this week or like in the coming weeks to make a big difference for your team. If you can hold off on like A-Chain and Warren and QJ and just let them sit on your bench until they're useful, I would probably just hold all three.
Yep. No, I agree there. Yeah, where we left off.
Williams or Dotson, full PPR. Do you have a lenience here? Mike Williams or
Mike Will.
You go Mike Williams over Jahan?
Yeah, pretty significantly.
I wouldn't be significantly for me. They're literally back to back.
Really? So for reference, I have Mike Will inside my top 20 at 20th overall, and I have Dotson at 26.
Okay, so I have Williams at 23 and Dotson at 24. So they're right next to each other. I have Dotson over McLaurin, even though McLaurin's playing. Yeah. Just because of the injury, I'm a little bit more wary, and I think Dotson has a pretty good workload for that reason.
Yeah, that's fair.
So people are giving you a 1-pointer for Ridley, by the way, and a 2-pointer for Dobbins for me.
That's Ridley 1-pointer is insane. You guys are very.
They make the rule. They judge. We don't make the rules.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah. Richardson or Watson, 6 point per passing
Watson.
touchdown. I would go Watson there. I don't really want to trust the Rook in his first game.
Yeah, agreed.
Really bad options, but Deion Jackson. I don't think Deion Jackson's a bad option this week, man. Like I think Deion Jackson's easily my answer there.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, Spicy in the chat. Just like y'all hyped up Ridley way too much for these peeps to give you a 2.
That's facts, actually. That's big time facts.
That is fair. That is true. If this was like a consensus live stream, people are like, wow, like 2 points easy. But because it's an FSE audience, like you guys already know ball. I can't, fool that with you guys.
Yeah. For what it's worth, have we covered all of our superlatives here? We both got to our underdogs. You took
your lock of the week.
New Orleans. I got the Dolphins money line against the Chargers. I got my going nuts with J.K. Dobbins. You got your going nuts with Calvin Ridley.
Your lock of the week's the only one left.
Oh, really? Okay, so let's just talk about my lock of the week real quick, because my lock of the week is that the Bengals are covering 1.5 points. It reminds me kind of like the narrative of the Cowboys-Buccaneers playoff game, where everyone's like, Cleveland always beats Cincinnati, and like the line, if that wasn't a narrative, would be like 6.5 for Cincinnati, realistically. Like Cincinnati, I like the Browns, don't get me wrong, and I think they're going to be better this year, but they should not be 1.5 point underdogs. They should be a bigger underdog, even though they're at home. It should be probably like a 3.5, 4 spread, in my opinion. So I think just knowing that that's what I think the spread should be is why I'm going with Bengals as my lock of the week. Bengals minus 1.5, and I laid an actual bet on this as well.
Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, sorry, I just want to read this. So it's 2 minutes ago. This was tweeted actually by Ari. And actually, real quick, who was?
So the Chiefs were initially concerned that Travis Kelce suffered a season-ending tibia plateau fracture. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but it ended up being a very, very deep bone bruise, is what they said. He's been making progress every day. He should be back for week 2, but I'm just going to say it right now, man. A 34-year-old dealing with a freaking deep bone bruise is not something I want to hear from a guy I took in the first round of my fantasy drafts. I understand, and like you'll hear it from us, even as the quote unquote tight end haters, that like having a guy like Travis Kelce is an extreme advantage to your lineup. But everybody saying that he was this risk-free pick all offseason, man, you're telling on yourselves, man. It's still a 34-year-old tight end who's literally been the most productive tight end we've seen, barring maybe Tony Gonzalez of all time.
Yeah, well, and the crazy thing too is like, yeah, he was 34 and he had the risk of major injury, but all players have that. The risk for a 34-year-old versus a 22-year-old is that things like this linger longer for a 34-year-old, which is why we were off of Kelce. And like, I know I'm jinxing it by saying this, knock on wood. The only major injuries that have happened so far have been Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp, and Jonathan Taylor. And I was below market on all of them, which I'm very happy about. And as I'm saying this, Bijan's about to blow his knee out, knock on wood. But I'm so far, I'm kind of really nervous that like we're going to get a big injury this week. I feel it in my gut and I hate it.
And real quick, dude, like honestly, it sucks to say this, and I don't want to like put anything in the air. That's why I'm knocking on wood. But people are like, you can't predict injury, so you may as well just draft knowing that everybody can get hurt. And I understand to a certain degree. You're right. You can't predict injury. But at the same time, if somebody's risk profile is higher than another person's risk profile to get injured, whether that's with age or touch workload with a running back position, I'm going to gear on the side of safety there, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm on the same page there. You can't predict freak injuries, but you can predict lingering injuries for some players when we have medical research like we did on Kupp and older players like Kelce, and of course running back touches and age and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so Tom says, way to start the year strong, boys. Full PPR 3 of Gibson, AJ Dillon, Pitts, or Waller. So I would roll with both tight ends in my lineup personally, and then I would go with Gibson as the other guy.
I would agree there. I agree. Now the question is like, AJ Dillon isn't a good enough pivot for me to like be scared about the Waller status for Sunday night. Plus he should play.
No, I think I would just risk it with Waller. You could probably find a McCole Hardman or something on waivers on Monday night to be able to pivot to. Yeah, like I would put Pitts in your tight end slot for sure and have Waller in your flex, because then you can pivot to a running back or a wide receiver. I think a guy like McCole Hardman or a Deontay Hardy or something should be available on your waiver wire that you could pivot to on Monday if need be.
Yep, I agree there. So we're caught up here.
Steven says, hey boys, what's going on?
What's up, Steven?
Any concerns with Pat Freiermuth against the 49ers? Not really, man. I think people are sleeping on Freiermuth, and they're going to probably see if Pickett looks good this year, we're going to see a monster season out of Pat Freiermuth, in my opinion.
Dude, I mean, for what it's worth, I almost took them as my straight underdog, like pick of the week. And then I realized that they're only 1.5 point underdogs. So like people are clearly aware that the Steelers could easily win this game. And I do think at home that Steelers start the season 1-0 and the 49ers are 0-1.
Yeah, that'd be a wild change of events there. Simon says, is Isaiah Likely sufficient enough to replace Mark Andrews? Yeah, of those options, I like Likely the most.
Yep. Also, real quick, so I do see right now we have 217 people concurrently watching right now. And yet we only have 56 likes on the stream, guys. Like, come on. This should at least be in triple digits. If you're watching the stream, if we answered your start sit, if you got some value, you know, you're enjoying what you're watching right now prior to that 1 p.m. kickoff, it doesn't hurt to hit the like button.
Yeah, totally appreciate those as well. Also, quick announcement. If you guys didn't know what we're doing tomorrow, every Monday at noon Eastern, we're going to be doing a live stream breaking down like our biggest takeaways of the week. And then the second segment will be us breaking down any dynasty trades that you guys have made. So, during the games today or after the games today, we'll probably send out a blast on the Discord asking for dynasty trades that you guys have recently made. So if you want to submit one, we'll probably talk about like 3 or 4 on the live stream tomorrow. And then the end of that segment will be us talking about any of our, waiver ads Monday night and for Monday and, excluding Monday Night Football. And that'll be a ton of fun for us tomorrow. So make sure you guys tune in every Monday around noon Eastern. We'll be doing those live streams this year. I think for us, it makes it way more enjoyable to talk about because for me, I don't know about you, Danny, the worst 2 things to talk about in season are like the takeaways and the waivers, and doing them on a live stream makes it way more fun. And it's a lot more interactive. You guys can ask us questions about your waiver ads. Do I drop this player for that player? And that kind of thing. I thought we talked about it, just a way better idea to tackle this stuff.
Oh, dude, 100%. By like week 11 last year, when I was still talking about waivers, I was just like, dude, like this is just getting redundant at this point. Like, you guys, for the most part, know the waivers. Obviously, of course, it still needs to be content that's put out, but at the same time, it's like you guys know who to pick up at that point. However, if we're doing it in a live stream format, we have, more organization, can interact with you guys. You could basically in the live stream say, how much should I spend on this guy? Should I drop this guy for this guy? Like, etc. It's a much more efficient way of doing it. So we got a couple super chats I'll quickly get to as well. So make sure we'll do that. First one from Goody. Appreciate that. Lockett, Mike Williams, or James Cook for flex full PPR. I'm going with Tyler Lockett here.
Yeah, I have Lockett higher as well, so I would go with Lockett, but I think Mike Williams is right there with him. But in full PPR, I think Lockett's the better projection for more targets, so I think I like Lockett there.
Agreed. Drake London or Calvin Ridley? Give me Calvin Ridley there, AJ. I have Calvin Ridley ranked inside my top 12 wide receivers this week.
Yeah, I don't even think that's remotely close for me. I have him way higher than that too.
Agreed. So we're all caught up on supers right now, and let's try to bang out as much of these comments as possible. I'm sorry for if you guys just asked your question. It's more than likely not going to get answered if you're commenting it at 12:31, 12:28. Like we're catching up right now. Like it's tough. There's 200 plus people in here right now. It's tough to get to every single one.
Yeah, we'd be talking a mile a minute if we got to every single one. I will say too, hit the subscribe button, hit the noties, get in here early. We're at 11:47 right now. So if you get in here early, you get your question in at 11:30 a.m. every week, you'll definitely get it answered without having to pay anything. But of course, if you want to check out our site, we have a private live stream every noon Eastern on Saturdays. And then also super chats obviously skip the line. So I think we've maybe already answered a similar question to this for Jay, but I would go Isaiah Likely over Musgrave personally.
I would go with Musgrave. And I mean, for what it's worth, we can have some fun. We can make this a little tight end bet here.
Yeah, let's do it. Spicy, dial it up. I'd taken Isaiah Likely. Danny's taking Luke Musgrave in full PPR here. We back boys on Kyle. Dallas defense or Jags? So Dallas against the Giants. I believe you guys are on the road, right?
Yeah, we're on the road in Mile High. In what's it called? New York. Should be fun, MetLife Stadium. But at the same time, if I have to just say for a 1 week basis, I'm going with the Jaguars defense. However, if you can keep the defense, that Cowboys defense after this week, for what it's worth, the Jets are a little bit of a tough matchup, but after that, it's the Cardinals and Patriots straight up. So if you're playing a long-term play, I would get with the Cowboys, but if you're just looking at a 1 week start, I actually prefer the Jaguars here.
Well, yeah, and he has Saquon on his team too, so that would hurt your defense a little bit if Saquon goes off. So I definitely like using that as a tiebreaker as well. And then Kittle or Higbee, very easily George Kittle there. He's going to be fine this week, hopefully. Football is back. Yes, sir, it is, Michael. Likely Everett, Musgrave, Ferguson, full PPR. I'm going Likely here. I think he's my highest rated option.
Mine would be Musgrave. I mean, we just went through it. But...
Yeah, we literally just went through it. Hot mama, what's going on? Lucas, PPR, Isaiah Likely, Kincaid, or Waller. Do you risk? Well, I mean, you have Kincaid as the pivot here on Monday night. So you go Waller, and then if you can't play Waller, you go Kincaid on Monday night.
Yeah, no brainer. And I would prefer Kincaid over Likely straight up. So that's an easy one for me.
Yeah, and also if you're rostering all 3 of these tight ends, you can just drop Likely, to be honest.
Yeah. We got a super here from Richard. Appreciate that. He says standard league pick 2, Lockett, Mike Williams, Devontae Smith, Dots, and I have Lamb starting. If you're picking 2, I'm going with. Oh, that's tricky because Devontae Smith is also in this.
Smitty's in there.
I gotta go with Smith and Lockett here. I didn't see Smith initially.
I take Williams over Lockett, to be honest.
Well, I mean, for what it's worth, Lockett also does get those like
he does, but it's a higher point total in the Dolphins Chargers game. I think I like the leaning into this. If you guys play in standard leagues, like really lean into like Vegas over unders because you're looking for touchdowns and points equal touchdowns. So like for me, I would go Smitty and Williams here.
Now, for what it's worth, what's the comparison right now in implied points between the Seahawks and the Chargers this week?
In terms of implied points, I can check it right now. I mean, for Seahawks are implied 25.5. The Chargers are implied 27. So yeah, to your point, I mean, it's going to be probably a high scoring game in both cases, but also for what it's worth, the under's getting 81% of the steam in the Seahawks game, and the over's getting 71% of the steam in the Chargers game. Also, the Dolphins should be able to keep up on the other side of the ball, and the Seahawks could blow out the Rams. Like it's possible that they do that.
Yeah, for what it's worth, with those in mind, I would probably go with Mike Williams there. Guys, super chat here. Full PPR, super flex, tight end premium, pick 2, Gibson, Swift, McLaurin. Honestly, this is pretty tricky. If I knew more about McLaurin's toe right now, it'd be an easy Gibson and McLaurin for me. But because there's just that uncertainty with the toe, I don't mind moving in Swift over McLaurin here.
Oh, buddy, I Gibson's the guy I'm sitting here.
What?
Dude, we already have a bet on Gibson versus Swift. So I'm starting, dude, with Rashad Penny is inactive, man. Like I'm starting Swift for sure. He's actually my number 1 of this group.
Wow.
So I'm starting Swift and McLaurin here in this decision.
Gibson and Swift for me.
Yeah, that's fair, man. I'm going to live and die by the Swift sword this week, I think.
Yeah. So you still feel more comfortable with Terry with this toe than Gibson in this matchup against the Cardinals?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right. Fair play.
For what it's worth, the Cardinals were more of a pass funnel last year too. So if they're
an everything funnel
they're an everything funnel for sure, but like they are actually like horrid against receivers. So it's possible that we get a big Dotson and McLaurin game, and that's how the game gets out of hand.
That's fair. So you have where we left off, right?
Yep. So gotta love Taco still holding it down. Yes, sir. Ayuk, Addison, or Khalil Herbert, full PPR pick 1. I'm going Ayuk here pretty easily, Michael.
Yeah, same.
Have a great day, everyone. May all your leagues run pure. Yes, sir, man. We need big performances here. Put Sky over London, dude. That one, we definitely
would not have done that. But
yeah,
I will say
we were getting stupid with the Sky Moore love on Thursday, but I definitely wouldn't have told you to start him over London.
For what it's worth, I can't believe I read that as I said that. I read it as I said that.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
It happens, man. I addressed the issue. It was a tough call. We ranked him inside of our top 30. It is what it is, man. You win some, you lose some. So, I mean, you just made another dime, theoretical dime there, Andrew. That is hilarious. Zach says $2 super chat. Bench 1, Swift, Mike Williams, Debo, half PPR. I mean, you're benching Swift here easily.
Yeah,
right?
I'm benching Swift.
Okay. I have to check your sanity level here.
Yeah. Well, maybe I should have gone with Swift as my going nuts pick because I would have probably been an onion hanger. But like I feel like people would have given me still 2 points for that.
Probably knowing our crowd. Come on.
Yeah, I'm like if I get Dobbins for a 2-pointer instead of Swift for a 2-pointer, I'll take that.
Real quick, great take there from Steph. Go Cowboys! Big night in store. I can't wait.
Yeah. It's gonna be dude. I'm excited to just watch players, man. Like I don't even care. Like people are like, "Oh, dude, the slate sucks. There's no good games." I'm like, I don't care, man. I just want to watch players.
Yeah, that is very true. Freiermuth, Johnson, or Conco for tight end. Give me Freiermuth there. Zick, and
also, if you're rostering both those other guys, drop them for running that. Go pick Gainwell up or something like that.
Go pick up some upside at back.
D. Shry says Rashad, Dalvin Cook, or Jamal Williams. I'm going Rashad White there.
Yeah. Rashad. I didn't even clock in for a second. Rashad White, I have like inside my top 20.
Yeah, can't decide on Kirk Cousins or Trevor Lawrence, Ramondre Stevenson or Jamal Williams.
I would. Super chat.
Oh, did he? Okay, well, yeah, it was Lawrence and Stevenson is what we would have went there. 30 seconds. What's up, boys? What's going on? Javon, classic, spicy hot taco. You're not timing me out.
Oh, that's my Lucas. Don't do that. Come on, man. Show some respect. Show some respect for the blue hammer, man. Come on.
Yes, sir.
The blue wrench.
Full PPR, Walker, Brees, QJ, Elijah Moore. I'm going Kenneth Walker there of those options there, Kyle.
Yeah.
Good morning, FSD. What's going on, Christian? He says, I punted QB in the draft, half PPR standard scoring. That's an oxymoron. Start Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones versus the boys, or Anthony Richardson. So,
hey, Rich.
I disagree. I would go Daniel Jones.
I'll bet that right now.
You want to go Daniel Jones versus Richardson?
Buddy, Daniel Jones absolutely
it's just my, like, I want to see what Richardson does before I put him in my line.
Fair, but at the same time,
double condom cuck.
At the same time, I hate to be this guy, but the Cowboys defense fucking owns Daniel Jones. Like, fucking owns him.
He's at home.
Yes, but that hasn't mattered in the past.
That's fair.
And for what it's worth, the Cowboys' biggest defensive flaw last year, they just, went out and traded for an all-pro at that position. So,
Gilly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, congrats. You got Diggs and Gilly locking up the worst receiving duo in the league. Isaiah Hodgins and Darius Slayton.
We got Jaron Kearse probably just going to completely be on Darren Waller throughout the game, too.
For some reason, when you said Jaron Kearse, I thought of the Titans defensive end, Javon Kearse, not Jaron Kearse.
For what it's worth, man, freaking... I said it again. Fuck Andrew, man. You're in my head now, rent free. But Jaron Kearse is actually one of the best tight end stoppers in the NFL.
Oh my god, dude! If I had a dime for every time Danny said that, I would be rich too. Jaron Kearse is a tight end stopper. I've heard that a million.
He's a good tight end stopper.
Whatever, dude. Levante David's the ultimate tight end stopper. Ask Travis Kelce in Super Bowl 55. Brian Robinson or Christian Kirk. I'm taking Christian Kirk there, especially in full PPR. And then Rachaad White or Brian Robinson. Again, I'll take Rachaad White in full PPR. He's got a better receiving workload.
Yeah. Full PPR, Walker or Damon Harris. This is Walker with ease.
Very that
is like Walker different stratospheres
here. Hey boys, who would y'all flex this week? Jaden Reed, Mims, or Treylon?
Oh, with Judy out, I'd probably go Mims.
Yeah, I think I go Mims here as well.
Yeah, fuck it.
I don't like this decision one bit, though, for what it's worth. Damn it, I just said it too.
Got a super chat here from Brandon. T. Higgins or Tyler Lockett, half PPR. I still got to go with T. Higgins here.
Yeah, I'm going T. Higgins there as well.
Especially half PPR. I expect Joe Burrow to throw more touchdowns. So
yeah, pick one for tight end in full PPR. Waller, Higbee, likely, and pick one for flex. Stevenson, Godwin, and Sutton. So tight end, I'm going Waller. I would wait on it. I don't think you have better options there. If you're heavily favored, I would maybe go likely, but I'm still just going to wait on Waller and pivot if I have to. Pick one for flex. I'd go Stevenson of that group there. Ilias.
Yeah, I would agree. Real quick though, Bush. So this is already a report we basically been talking about for the last few weeks of the offseason, especially given the superlative season. If you guys watched Bust and Sleeper video, but apparently, so Underdog tweeted this out that apparently Ian Rappaport said that Najee Harris and Jalen Warren could split carries in week 1. And while Najee's going to be the starter, it's going to be a lot closer of a workload than people would anticipate.
Yeah, I also, for what it's worth, too. Why am I saying it? I don't even say it. You guys are in my head. Darren Waller will play in week 1, is a report from Jay Glazer. So if you guys have Darren Waller, he might be on maybe a minorly reduced pitch count or something, but I would still play him. It's tight ends, man. The tight end position is gross, and Waller's still one of your best options. And also, Jerry Jeudy is to be a game time decision, so he is actually not officially out. But I would expect him probably to be out, at least with hamstrings. Why are they being stupid with him? Whatever. And this has been a age-old story for Jerry Jeudy's career for the most part. It's been a challenging thing to keep him on the field. So if I were the Broncos, I would be smart with it.
Real quick, by the way, I'm going to make sure Ron set our lineup too, because we do have our event team.
Oh, yeah. I think, go check that out for us as well. While you're doing that, we have a couple more questions that I'll get into. Brian says Lazard or Hollywood PPR. I'm going Hollywood Brown there, Brian. 9-6 asked this question a million times. Please only ask it once. Ryan says, I drafted Mark Andrews and Kelce for steals. Yikes. Who should I pick up? I mean, likely is your best option probably this week on the waiver wire. Thoughts on the bad weather for the Steelers 49ers game? I didn't actually know that there's supposed to be bad weather. Has anybody got confirmed weather reports here from it's in Pittsburgh, right, today? Pittsburgh.
Yeah, weather. It's in Pittsburgh.
I see light precipitation, but it looks pretty decently fine to me. I don't think the weather's supposed to be super bad. Remember in week 1 last year when we were in Dallas and the fucking 49ers and Bears had that monsoon game in week 1?
They had the monsoon in the Cowboys game. Like, I just remember it being like one of the hottest days I've ever felt in my life in terms of weather. And then Spicy's in the backstage just laughing right now. He knows, he's like, yeah, this is like a below average heat day in Texas. And I'm like, how do you guys live in this, man? I was like sweating in my freaking hotel room while we were watching football at 1 p.m. And man, like I just remember just with the food and the weather, man, I felt so sick that day.
Yeah, no, it was not a great situation for the lad there. So just to quickly show you guys what we got cooking here. These are NFL season superlatives. You guys can see the bets that we have on player stuff here. Spicy got to get his shit together here. We got Richardson, and who did I take? Danny Dimes. Okay, but we have me taking lock of the week, Bengals -1.5. Danny taking lock of the week over 46.5 on the Colts, and Jaguar. Spicy getting in on the action, of course, taking the Raiders Broncos under 43 points. Then we also got underdog picks of the week. I got Dolphins money line, Titans money line, and of course Raiders fan Spicy Hot takes the Raiders money line. And then we got J.K. Dobbins. So you guys decided that was a 2-pointer. Calvin Ridley was a 1-pointer. I would imagine Bijan Robinson's a 1-pointer as well. I don't even think we need a vote on that. I think you only get one if he goes bonkers. And then I got the safe play. Yeah. To get a point for the safe play of the week, they need to finish as a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2. So a top 24 wide receiver or running back. And those are the only positions we're going to do those for. Spicy going with Garrett Wilson, pretty big cop out. I would say, generally speaking, we want to be like able to look ourselves in the mirror with these.
Yeah.
And say like, they're like flex plays or wide receiver 2s, not really like wide receiver 1s that we're saying are safe plays. But for the most part, those are things that we got cooking. I also do have a couple bets on the docket.
Where's
if you
Matt?
guys care, we can talk about those. I don't know where Matt's at, but
he's a rookie though. But he's a rookie that we both have ranked inside our top 3 running backs.
Oh yeah, dude, he's a rookie. I really don't care. So this is what we got here. Four leg, same game parlay, pretty much taking my going nuts picks. J.K. Dobbins, anytime touchdown score, and over 62.5 rushing yards. Cincinnati Bengals -1.5 was my lock of the week. Miami Dolphins money line was my underdog pick of the week. So we got 25 bones on that. Then I saw a super boost that I thought was good. Just Bengals win. Joe Burrow records 250 plus passing yards. I thought that was a pretty nice one to go with. And I went with a 3-leg same game parlay, my sicko energy of going with alternate receiving yards. I guess I didn't leave that last year when I decided to like not hit any of these parlays, but 70 plus yards for Drake London, 90 plus rushing yards for Bijan, 60 plus receiving yards for Jordan Addison is what I'm rolling with there. And then I went with a heater here, 5-team spread and over under parlay. How do you like in this, Danny? Commanders -7, Falcons -3.5, Bengals -1.5, Bears -1.5, and over 50.5 points of the Dolphins Chargers game, which I believe is now up to 51.5. So I got a nice little discount on the over under there.
The only 2 I'm like really worried about would be the Bengals and the Bears. But I mean, for what it's worth, the Bengals are literally your lock. So I can see why you did that. Honestly, maybe it's just my bias, like seeing like, oh, Elijah Moore's my guy. Deshaun Watson, I'm not going to say he's my guy, obviously, with the off the field shit, but he's a fucking damn good quarterback. And I do think at home that it's going to be risky for the Bengals this week. It's going to be risky for Orange.
It's going to be risky. I expect them to get out to like a weak start, though. Like, I think they'll probably figure some things out as the season goes along.
Yeah. No, that's definitely fair.
Okay, so we are at 12:58 p.m. Again, we are apologies if we didn't get to your question. There was a lot of you guys in here. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get to everybody. But again, if you want to get your questions answered going forward in the future, make sure to leave your questions early. Get in here early before the stream starts, and get your question in here, and we'll answer them ASAP because we do go chronologically. And of course, if you guys super chatted us again, you could probably save some money on the super chats by just signing up on our site and coming to the private live stream that we have. We have tons of time to get to everybody's questions. We're not rushed whatsoever. And you get that once a week, Saturday afternoons at noon. And, for the most part, yeah, things change from Saturday to Sunday, but for the most part, you also have access to our weekly rankings too. So you can see them there as well. Did we get to Brandon Super here?
Yeah. T. Higgins.
We did. We said Higgins. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Blue Vipers in here. It's time for football. Let's go, baby. Is our lineup set for our FFPC or whatever?
Yeah. He said it's all set. By the way, I here when you get a chance, I'd search FFPC. Okay, so I guess he sent it to us. So I'll just take a look. I'm just responding to Ron. But yeah, we're all set.
Anyways, good luck on the bets today, fellas. Yes, appreciate it. Good luck to every one of you guys in your fantasy matchups. We're going to sign out here a little early, make sure we can last minute triple check all of our lineups to make sure we don't get screwed. But good luck today. Hopefully your teams win. Hook 'em horns. We're better than Alabama. Been proven.
Not Michigan, though.
And also, go Bucks. We're trying to lose today, though. We are rooting for losses in this house. I want Caleb Williams. I want Drake May. Hell, there might be 5 first-round quarterbacks coming this year because of the way that these guys are playing. Shedeur Sanders currently leading college football in passing yards. He's on your boys' Devy team right now. So,
last thing I will say about
McCarthy talk,
brother. Through 2 games, he has 5 passing touchdowns and 7 incompletions. So he's playing some ball right now. That's all I'm gonna say. He's playing some ball.
All right, it's 1 p.m. Eastern, fellas. Good luck.
Take care.